All right. Hello. How's everyone doing? I'm Belinda, one of your two co-hosts. I'm the editor-in-chief here at NÜFLY, where our focus is around mental health and creativity. And like the intro says, Reset is meant to be a therapy session between two friends, opening up or creating dialogue. Oh, man, I forgot verbatim what it was. Just opening up dialogue around mental health, and just making it more conversational and just, it's not that it should be easier to talk about. So, yeah. MIINKAY, would you like to say hello to the people?
Hi, everybody. My name is MIINKAY. I'm a coach. I'm a professional listener. I also have a podcast called What's Your Calling, where I help people get unblocked in terms of their career and figure out what they need to do to move forward. And a lot of what I do actually is mental health related, is helping people realize that the negativity in their lives and the negativity around them is just all in their head, and that if they can learn to switch it off, become more positive, and become more self-supporting, then they can really have their careers take off. Yeah. So I love the topic of mental health because it touches every part of your life, from career to relationship to self-care. It's such a huge deal that needs to be talked about more, and is only just starting to be recognized by celebrities and the world. But I think once everybody sees it as an important part of life, then wellness overall for everybody will be really, really, really improved.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your podcast series?
Sure. It's a multi-format podcast. I do like 20-minute or less segments where I teach about a topic. Like the last one I did was failure, and how to approach failure, how to approach it in a way that's healthy and that is not going to hinder you in life. And then I interview people who have gone through a career transition and who are looking for more and have found it and have found new careers. I interview people about inner guidance, because that really is the key to finding out what you want to do with your life, is really getting in touch with your inner guidance and your intuition. And then I do short meditations because I really believe in meditation as a good way to get in touch with your own self, your intuition, and the little voice inside you that's sort of helping you about what to do and how to do it, and just to slow down and find a little peace. It's such a really, really, really good calming tool. So I give little meditations on my podcast too. And we just hit 1,000 downloads.
Wow.
Which was a really nice milestone.
Dude, yeah. Woo-hoo. Shout out to you.
Thanks, B.
No, that's so tight, dude. I couldn't believe it. When I saw the status, I was like, whoa, wait, what? Like, people all over the world are downloading it.
Yeah, it's cool. There's like 5 people from Africa, and maybe like 50 downloads in Europe and 20 downloads in Australia. So it's getting around the world, actually. I don't know how, but it is.
What are you using to get it out? Like, how are people getting it?
It's on all the platforms. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and I think people are finding my meditations because they're getting more traction than the other podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, the other podcasts get downloads, but not in the same volume as the meditations. So I think people are finding me through that. And then it's being, because you can still just use the meditations on their own. You don't have to, care about everything else I talk about.
Yeah, for sure. What's your favorite meditation so far? Or what have you noticed people have been enjoying the most?
I do a driving meditation.
What's that like?
So for meditation, I like to start people off easy You know, you don't have to close your eyes and think about nothing. That's way harder than it sounds. To do a successful meditation, just try to focus on one thing at a time. And people are in their cars most of the time. So I just did a little guided meditation on what to focus on when you're driving, how to feel the road, how to feel what's going on around you, listen to the hum of the car. So it kind of guides you through all those little things that you do when you drive, so that you're just really only focused on driving and not listening to music or talking to somebody or eating, right? You're just driving and you're just enjoying driving.
So like there's no music, you're not talking to anybody, there's no distractions. I just like literally while you said that, like I turned up the music because I was like I couldn't hear it. and then I was like, oh shit, maybe I should have done that. But driving meditation, like just the act of driving itself is very meditative. You know what I mean? Because you have to be so focused, like you don't want to die, right? So you have to like be in tune with yourself.
Yeah, in the car too. Right,
Wow.
You're connected to the car. So yeah, so just doing that gives you something to do while you're driving instead of being in your head about what you have to do that day or something that happened yesterday or something you have to do later. You can just be present with your driving. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, I gotta get on that tip. I literally just like lowered it again. Everybody saw my shit. I'm sorry. I'm on desktop view. Like, my laptop's gonna fry if I use the other screen. I know, Lester. I know. I gotta get hotkeys. I'm trying here. Yeah. Driving meditation. Man, can you drop the link to that in the chats for people?
Yeah. I can do that.
I think I need it too. How long is that one?
That driving meditation, I think, is only 5 minutes.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah. I try to make it bite-sized for people. I don't want it to be hard to do.
Yeah.
And then I think listening to the whole podcast is like 5 to 6 minutes, but the actual meditation is maybe 3 or 4 minutes. So like everybody can try 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. And then just do your best. And then if you want to do it again, just turn it back on and try it again. But then it's not so long that you get annoyed or bored or whatever. But it's like digestible.
Is there like a focus on that particular one where you're just like, what do you give a sneak peek? If you can.
I mean, I try to guide you through all 5 senses. So feeling, hearing, seeing, and just give you a little focus like through each one of what it feels like. Okay, notice how the ground feels below you. Notice the hum of the engine. Things like that, so that I can just guide you through focusing on one thing at a time. But it all has to do with driving.
Senses, like just like being able to tune out the outside, right? Like to find peace inside your own mind.
Sort of. Not. I mean, just being present. Just having something to focus on. That's not thought.
Just feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the clip that we're about to pull up, The Good Place. I remember Kristen Bell's character, Eleanor, like her story had this like she said she would have this little voice inside her head that would tell her not to do certain bad things, right?
Yeah.
And like she just suppressed it for so long. And she found peace when she was able to let the little voice take over. I don't know. Yeah.
That's it. That's the one.
That's the one. All right. Okay. We're gonna pull up this clip now. Our question this week is, would you buy the tomato? And this clip is going to explain to you what the fuck do you mean by that? Yeah, we swear a little bit. We're adults here. You know what I mean? Like, if mature kids can watch this, it's fine. This was on NBC. All right, okay. I'm gonna pull it up now.
Your Honor, I once stood in front of you and said I thought there was something wrong with the point system. I finally know what it is. Life now is so complicated. It's impossible for anyone to be good enough for the good place. I know you don't like to learn too much about life on Earth to remain impartial, but these days just buying a tomato at a store means that you are unwittingly supporting toxic pesticides, exploiting labor, contributing to global warming. Humans think that they're making one choice, but they're actually making dozens of choices they don't even know they're making.
Your big revelation is life is complicated? That's not a revelation. That's a divorced woman's throw pillow. I mean, this guy chose this tomato. Those are the consequences. You don't want the consequences? Do the research. Buy another tomato. What else you got?
I'll tell you what else I got. I got this.
Michael, what are you doing?
Backpack Kid dance.
Why?
I don't know. It makes people happy. Is it helping?
Can I say something? Jean-Paul Sartre once wrote...
Boring! I got this. I want to tell you about a guy from my dance crew in Jacksonville called Big Noodle.
Well, we gave it our best shot, guys. It was nice knowing you.
I used to yell at Big Noodle because he always showed up late to rehearsal. Then one day, the swamp under my house flooded. I needed a place to crash, so I slept at Big Noodle's house. Turns out that he had to juggle 3 jobs to take care of 4 grandparents who all lived in the same bed, just like in Willy Wonka. I never yelled at Big Noodle for being late after that because I knew how hard it was for him to be there. And he definitely didn't have time to research what tomatoes to buy, even if he wanted to. Possession of a non-fried vegetable is a felony in Jacksonville. The point is, you can't judge humans because you don't know what we go through.
Amazingly, Your Honor, he's right. I didn't really understand people until I went to Earth. Maybe you should give it a shot. If you still don't see things our way, then we'll drop it and you can, you know, sappy zappy, marble marble.
Yeah, sure. I'll give it a shot. I'll go down there, see what you guys go through, and then, one way or another, this is going to end. Hey, do you guys know a good place where I can get Mexican food? Oh, Mexico, duh.
Oh,
Well, how long will she be gone?
no way to tell. My guess is
Oh, brother, that was rough.
Right?
Sheesh, Earth is a mess, y'all. Woof. Also, I guess I'm black, and they do not like black ladies down there. Crap, y'all. This is bad.
Where did you go, exactly?
Tanzania, Paraguay, Vietnam, Denmark. It's terrible everywhere and always in a different way. The only place I liked was Hawaii, although I barely left the resort. The last place I went was a Black Friday sale at an outlet mall in Michigan.
Why?
For the deals. Earth stinks, y'all. It's hot and it's crowded, but somehow also cold and lonely. I thought it was going to be so easy to make good decisions. The first thing I did was I Googled big, juicy, natural tomatoes, which led me to a porn site that was for people with a sunburn fetish. I kind of never recovered.
right. That's problem number 1. Life is chaotic and messy and unpredictable. Problem number 2, even if you do somehow manage to make good decisions, you still lose points because of the unintended consequences.
Yeah, there are booby traps everywhere. Like, there's this chicken sandwich that if you eat it, it means you hate gay people. And it's delicious.
It is so good.
And I essentially tried to do what you suggested. I obsessed over every choice, but that was also bad, and I still got sent to the bad place. So I'm problem number 3.
Oh no, you are nobody's problem, sweetheart. You know, we gotta figure this out.
And then Turtle makes a bet with Ronda Rousey, and if she loses, she has to bow. Come on! It's just in the middle of torturing William Shakespeare by describing the plot to the Entourage movie. What is this?
Some new information has come to my attention and I need a solution. I want the bad place to weigh in on this. But first, let's have a change of scenery.
Remember, guys, we're still in the IHOP, so be careful.
Sean, I have reason to believe that humans might be, on average, better than the point system suggests they are.
Counterpoint, humans are terrible. Limp Bizkit, slavery, the prosecution rests.
Gotta say, that's a solid rebuttal.
Look, there are plenty of awful people, and thoughtless jerks, and I guess Nazis again somehow. But there are also people who are really trying to be good, and they aren't getting close.
Because they're not good at being good because they're bad. The score they got on Earth is how good or bad they are. Full stop. End of story.
Okay. The question is, would you buy the tomato?
Would you buy the tomato, Belinda?
I think you should answer that question first. You should answer it first.
I don't got time to research all this crap about a tomato. It's a tomato. I freaking need to just go to the store and get a tomato.
You know,
other things to do.
You know, I think in a perfect world, like, yeah, I would go out of my way to the farmer's market and I would buy the tomato there, you know. But we live in a complicated world. Like, it's hard. It's hard to go out of your way. You have to pick the most convenient one, you know?
Yeah. I think that's the problem, is that there's so much going on in the world that if you're trying to raise a family or even just take care of yourself, like, and try to be healthy and, you know, just be in the world, you don't have time to do all this research about what is, you know, ethically correct. And you could just be making some ethically poor choices too. Or even if you're not paying attention, does that mean that you're a bad person?
Yeah.
If you don't care to pay attention to what's going on about, you know, the election, are you a bad person? Right? Like, not necessarily. Does that, but we're quick to judge people on just one thing that they do.
Yeah.
And it's just so hard to be in the world sometimes that you can't judge a person just by one thing that they do. And then it's unrealistic to try and change your whole life based on the best ethical decision. Right? That's the flip side, is like, even if you did have time to research and understand what's going on in the world, do you have time to wait till every Saturday to buy food at the farmer's market? You know, what if you ran out of rice on Monday? Then you need to eat and you need food and you just go to the store and get a bag of rice. Like, is that a bad thing to do? Right? That's not, in my opinion. Like, you should be able to just live your life in the most easy and convenient way as possible.
Because a lot of you know, things are more ideals than realistic. Like, there's a lot of unrealistic expectations put on us, you know, like, because, yeah, like, what did you write? You wrote, you know, what if you just want to make a recipe and, yeah, like, you need the tomato. Like, Amazon is a good example of this as well, right? Like, yeah,
you know, if say you have a kid and you need diapers, or you don't have time to go to the grocery store and you need Instacart,
yeah,
or Amazon Fresh to go and buy those groceries for you and then take them to your door. But you're supporting all these quote unquote companies that employ cheap labor and exploit people and pay them next to nothing for going to buy groceries for you. are you a bad person for doing that?
Are we losing points right now just from not changing our ways, you know?
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Right?
Like in the show, like it's been like they hadn't let anyone into the good place, heaven, you know, for what, like over 500 years? Like that's a long ass time. That's because it's like these standards are impossible now. Like things are much more. There's just
complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to things now, you know. I wrote the mounting tape, you know, Amazon versus the hardware store for me. Like I've delayed buying this mounting tape that I've needed for over a month now because I wanted to go to this hardware store near my house, you know? Like I want to support local businesses, be a good citizen, you know, not leave a big carbon footprint, you know, I really do. There just hasn't been a good time for me to walk the 10 blocks down to get it. Like I have been either too tired, overloaded with projects, or just wanting to jump on my bike to wander around Gongdae Park, you know, just I gotta reset my mind, you know? And it's truly a complicated world we live in as humans. Like traps set up for our failure everywhere because you can be making a good decision in your mind, but can have negative consequences, right? Unintended consequences. That's what they talk about in the show. Like we simply do not have the time to research everything we consume and contribute into the universe. You know, there's too many errands to run, commitments to fulfill, and other responsibilities to think of. Like there, you know,
and there's too many things that are out of your control or that you couldn't know either. Like, what if you went to the hardware store, and then a month later you found out that the owner of the hardware store is a Trump supporter?
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that part of it.
Then they're like, what about that? Well, you just supported a Trump supporter without even knowing it. So, how does that make you feel?
Damn, dude.
It's impossible to know all the details about life. You know, you can't take it that far.
Yeah.
Right. Some people get stressed out about, oh, I'm using so much plastic.
Yeah.
The plastic is it's freaking everywhere, and there are things you can't buy that don't have plastic on them, and it's so annoying. But at the same time, you just need to buy some lettuce. But this head of lettuce is covered in plastic, and there's nowhere you can buy a head of lettuce without plastic on it. So it's like, do I just not eat lettuce? That's so annoying. But then they're gonna cover it in plastic anyway. Someone else is gonna buy it. You not buying one head of lettuce is not gonna stop them from creating more plastic, right? Like it's such a mental fatiguing conundrum.
It really is.
That I go through every time that I go to the grocery store of like, should I buy this? I didn't bring all those little bags, and now I have to get another plastic bag to put my groceries in. Like,
and there's all this guilt, you know?
Yeah.
This like you're born into a guilty world. Like you're gonna feel guilty for the rest of your life. Like you're gonna feel like you're on trial for the rest of your life. Like look at how they even went into that like little court side room, like conference room, just like talk about like what are we gonna do about this? You know, like it's just like judgment day every day. Like every decision you make, like it's crazy.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
It's so exhausting. It's exhausting. There are many nights where I cannot fall asleep because my mind is already racing over everything else I need to take care of, you know? And it's a game that we cannot win, you know? Like this year in particular has been like the most challenging, right? Like, you know, how am I supposed to make perfect decisions when shit is hitting the fan like this? Like how? You know, you tell me. Like how?
It's impossible.
I'm just gonna be sent to the bad place and be tortured by demons, you know, for the rest of eternity. Like this show has made me really think about things like that. But by the end of it, I did feel a glimmer of hope, like, all right, you know, maybe we will find some peace at some point, but when is the... Yeah. Finding it in the small moments too. Like you have to just appreciate it when you get it, right? When you can't find that peace of a mind, but...
Yeah, or turn it around. Like, even if you have to... If you're so busy you can't go to the grocery store, you have to call Instacart to get that, so that you can get a gallon of milk and a box of diapers. Right? That's... You're still giving someone work to do. And even if they get paid a little, or like not what it's worth, they're getting paid something. So you can see the brightness in that, and that, like, they would have not had that extra $10 if you hadn't used Instacart. So you can kind of start to turn things around like that, in terms of, okay, well, even if I go to the hardware store and you know, buy from this Trump supporter, he does have a family where his kids aren't Trump supporters, and that's supporting his family. You know, or like things like that. I think you said there's always a glimmer of hope in every situation. And so starting to turn it around so that you're not always guilt tripping or beating yourself up, but seeing the benefit or seeing the positivity in what you're doing for yourself. Like, okay, I forgot my, you know, my reusable bag this time, but I'll reuse this plastic bag as many times as I can before I have to throw it away.
Yeah.
Right. Doing something as simple as that, and just changing your mindset about what's bad about it into turning it into a good situation is going to help you ultimately. And I think it's so necessary nowadays when we have the news telling us what to do and what not to do, and what's bad and what's good, and what to eat and how to feel about things. And you just kind of
need a Big Brother, dude. Like, it's literally, like, we are living out 1984 and Brave New World right now. You know what I mean? Like, Huxley and Orwell, like, they totally predicted this for us. You know, like, there's a screen telling us what to do, and they can monitor us all the time. Like, this is happening literally right now. You know what I mean? Like, our phones are Big Brothers. You know, like, our TVs. Like, yes, they can take up a whole wall. You know, like, that's, man, like, all these things, these yeah, it's definitely a lot to think about, dude. It's definitely a lot. And
I try not to think too much about it.
Yeah. I try not to too, you know, because it's exhausting, and I'm not gonna be able to be creative if I'm just mentally exhausted, overthinking everything all the time. But I do want to give myself a little bit of time to think about some stuff every now and then, you know, so I'm not completely like, just like ignorance is bliss, walking around completely oblivious to what's happening. But just, you know, I do have good intentions, and I have to be able to sleep, you know, well at night, you know, like, life is complicated, man. Life is fucking complicated. I love Maya Rudolph in the show as the judge. She is so good, like, literally.
That show is really, really smart.
So smart. Yeah, incredibly smart. I'm impressed by the writing, and yeah, like, every time they called her back in, she'd be like, "What, guys? I'm in the middle of watching a soap opera, or like like, you're taking me away from like a certain actor, like." Yeah. Like, who was it? Timothy Oliphant or whatever? Like, and they got him on the show too. In that little dream sequence, like, I think when they were inside of Janet's void. Yeah. Like, what? That's such a crazy concept, dude.
Yeah, I love how the show just tried to really parallel the real world and just make jokes about every terrible situation, like Chick-fil-A. It's such a sad situation of, why can't we just eat the chicken and not, you know, but not support like anti-gay culture? Like, Why do they have to be associated to each other?
Yeah. Why is
can't we just all-
why are good things tainted? Like, why is nothing ever just fully good? You know, I think it's another factor. In that same episode from The Good Place, they talked about like a boy who, you know, a few hundred years ago, he was like walking, like a boy in the same, in this situation where he's walking to his grandma's house and he picks up a bouquet of flowers for her, you know, and like that gained him a lot of points. But now if you do that, you don't know what you're supporting with the bouquet of flowers, you know, like those flowers are tainted already without you even knowing it, you know? Like, it was just like
trying to do
innocently like walking by on the street, you know what I mean? And you just think, okay, yeah, that seems like a good idea. And then you're like, oh shit, did not realize I was supporting Hitler or something. You know, like how are we supposed to be good? Yeah.
I think all we can do is our best and not, you know, I think Maya Angelou has this saying, once you know better, you can do better. And I love it because it's really also what it's not saying is that what it's not not like voicing, but actually saying in it, like indirectly, is if you didn't know better, then it's okay. But once you know better, you can do better.
It's if you decide to ignore it, then that's when you're fucking up, you know?
Yeah, if you know better and you don't do better, then that's where you're fucking up. But if you didn't know any better, then you couldn't have done better, and that's okay. And I think that's where the point system needs to, you know, keep into account is, does this person actually know what they're doing is bad? If they don't, then it's an innocent mistake, or it's just an innocent action. It doesn't have any ill intent behind it. Like buying those flowers for your grandma. There's no ill intent behind any of it.
Yeah.
And so can we just count our actions as what the intention was? Can we just give a points by how much or how little this person knew and what their intention was?
Yeah. Like that one guy, one of the next like 3 humans that they decided to torture, the guy that wrote that book and is like hella sleazy and masochistic and shit. Like, remember like the last scene that they had of him? They were trying to coach him on why he shouldn't tell women to smile more. He's like, I don't get it. Like, why can't I tell them to smile more? Like, isn't that helping them? Like, this guy's...
Yeah, when you kind of get into these like
how would you have dealt with that guy? You know what I mean? Like, remember like the Chidi's ex-girlfriend is like, I'm not gonna tell him that his book is good because it's hella like it objectifies us, you know? And she couldn't accept it, right? And that's what kind of tore their world apart. Like when you walk away, you just give up on somebody. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's I think a case by case basis.
How would you deal with that guy in particular though? Like if you were in her shoes and that was happening, like how would you deal with it?
I don't remember the scene exactly, but if anyone I was sitting across from just didn't understand what I was saying and why, I would drop it. Because it's not worth my time to keep explaining it or try to explain it any more than I already have, especially if I'm starting to just repeat myself.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not getting through to this person, however I'm saying it, and so I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah, but would you want it to figure out how to help him see the light, or would you just walk away?
You can't help people who don't want to be helped.
But that's what they're talking about in the show, like, you know, like the world started like completely tearing apart when like she just decides to leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It makes me think. Like, but we can't save people either, you know?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
And it's not your job. It's not your job to change someone's mind. It's not your job to change who they are. They need to be open enough to it to want to change themselves. Yeah, so there's no point in me trying to like crack a rock that doesn't want to be cracked. Like
that's why they were
wasting my
still
own
working
energy.
on him. Like after all that time, like he's still stuck on like, why can't I tell women to smile more? Like you still are like, you know, it might take eternity for that guy to be able to be coached, you know, like.
Yeah. You know, if he's not open to it, then you can't help him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. What else? Let's see. We already covered the tomato.
Yeah. What else did you like about The Good Place?
I never seen a show explore ethics like this, you know? And yes, it was on NBC, it was a network TV show, and yes, some stuff was very much like, oh, you can tell they're on a set, you know? But there was some stuff, like the writing, you know? That's what really got me. I think that's what really, yeah. Like, I could see past some of the set stuff because of that. I really loved the doorman that was obsessed with frogs. You know?
Yeah.
Like that guy was really cute. I think because he is a frog. Like he could totally be a frog. The casting was so good. I thought they did a really good job with the casting. And yes, Jason was a little bit stereotypically like, what is this like? Is this like 16 Candles? Like why does he have such he doesn't have an accent, but he definitely sounds hella dumb, you know? I know we don't sound that dumb. But they also had, I don't know.
I think that was a stereotype, is that he's hella dumb.
Yeah. But you can't underestimate people that seem really dumb because they could be a monk inside. You don't know. And you might be the one that's dumb.
I think that's the point, is that even
Right.
though there was stuff he didn't get, there was other stuff that he did get. And he got the heart of a lot of things, and he got what really mattered.
Yeah. He did. He was the first one that was like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he waited.
He did. A millennium. Or like
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah. Oh, man. He's so sweet. Yes.
You know, he just had that on his mind the whole time. He didn't need anything else.
Wandering around that forest, completely at peace with that, what is it? The necklace? That was a necklace, right?
Something like that.
I was like, he was afraid that the magic squirrel was gonna eat it. Oh, too good.
He's so good.
Yeah, too good, dude. It could have. There were like definitely some dark moments, like when like the clown theme in the house. Like I'm really scared of clowns, so I had to really just like look past it, because if I like who would get to the good place and there be clowns everywhere? Like, who the fuck is obsessed with clowns like that? Like what kind of, already that would set me off a little bit. But yeah, all the twists and turns and the casting, the writing. What else is part of it? I just got really hooked on the whole the existential crisis. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really drawn to existential crises, like in stories. Like I gravitate toward, because I'm living it constantly, you know, so I feel less alone when I feel like other people are going through the same kind of existential dread that I have, you know.
Do you believe in heaven and hell?
I don't think that it's hard for me to believe that there's really a heaven. You know what I mean? And like this show really explored that for me, and their interpretation of what heaven is like is actually so realistic. Like it feels so real to me. You know, I was like, maybe that is like, how can you even imagine going to a place, you know, like Lisa Kudrow's character, she plays that Greek goddess philosopher that completely went dumb drinking smoothies up there. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I forgot that part.
She, like, you know, when they go up to heaven and they throw a big party for them, and they start like looking around, and like it's too much of a good thing. You know, when you have too much of a good thing, it's like you get sick,
weird.
you get bored of it, right? Like, all right, there's no challenge here. Like, that's the fucked up thing about being a human, is that we have to feel like we're being challenged in some kind of way, or like if everything was just good all the time, MIINKAY, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we would get bored. I feel like that's why war happens. That's why conflict happens in this world, because it would be so boring without any kind of like, you know, like up and down, some kind of like roller coaster, Jeremy Bellamy. That's what they call the universe, or like life after, when you're like outside the human timeline, is everything's happening all at once, and when you zoom out on it, it looks like I don't know, and Chidi got so stuck on that dot over the eye or whatever, like he's like, what is this? I get this is all connected, but what is this random little dot over here? Like, what is that? You know, that really cracked me up, because they're just, there's a lot of random anomalies in this universe. I don't know, what did you like about MIINKAY?
I love that it was, every character had their flaws, and they just really exemplified it to a point where you're like, oh yeah, I've done that before. Or especially Tahani.
Oh, I love Tahani. Yes.
But where she's kind of narcissistic, but it's because she never had love and acceptance as a kid.
Oh yeah.
She was always pitted against her sister, and their parents never showed them any appreciation or affection, and then they praised her sister more. So then that made her like a narcissistic, because if she's not getting it from anybody else, she has to like overcompensate for herself, right? So at the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, this bitch.
Yeah, she seems hella self-centered, you know, like attention seeking, and then you start to unravel
why
her
she's
story.
like that.
Yeah.
And I think everybody has a story like that.
Yeah.
Everybody
definitely.
that is misguided or seems like an ass or a dick or a bitch has some sort of situation they've been in like that created that need to be that kind of person. Yeah, and I like how in the end, when they get resurrected and they go back into their lives and they have a second chance, right, that she actually makes up with her sister and tries to have a family with her, and just tries to be a human. I think that's one of the hardest things you can do,
is to swallow your ego and pride and just see the humanity in somebody else, have empathy, and to find a middle ground with them. Like, I love that art gallery scene, dude. Like, that one was so good, where she's like making pancakes in front of pancakes, and then she starts to see that her sister has been painting about them her whole life, almost. And that it hasn't been an insult. It's really been like, I want to love you, but we can't love each other because of outside factors, or because of their parents. Like, their parents is what made them, like, they've been pit against each other their whole life. They didn't grow up in that connective kind of home. Like, they grew up very disconnected. And
Yeah, and Tahani finally makes that move to be connected with her.
yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, that's what she really wanted.
Yeah. And also when like they make up with their parents too, like that was such a beautiful scene as well. Like, oh, they were able to redeem themselves. Like they saw the error of their ways, you know. I can't even imagine what their hell looked like. Can you imagine like just Tahani parties and like what was her sister's name again? I forgot. But just getting stuck in her art worlds and like wonder how many Jeremy Bearamies they had to go through for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the show made you really question what is right and what is wrong, and what does it mean to go to heaven, and then why can't there be the whole point of that point system and challenging the point system, right, was why can't there be a middle ground? And why can't people change?
Oh, I love that character too. What's her name? Mindy Sinclair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love her character too. I didn't even like that last twist up with her was so crazy. I was like, wait, what the fuck, Kristen Bell? Like, or Eleanor? Like, what the hell? Like, how did you come to that conclusion? Like, that was your last mission that you had to do, you know? I love her character too. And then what happened with like, was it Jared or was Janet's creation?
Oh, Derek.
Yeah. His final form, dude. Oh man,
he was great.
That was so good.
That actor is amazing. I forgot his name, but he's in so many good things, and he always does an amazing job.
Yeah, his comedic timing is hella spot on. Yeah, Mindy Sinclair.
Yeah, I think I think in life there's a middle place, but I think our society doesn't lend itself to that. It just puts people in a hole and expects them to be in that hole for the rest of their lives. But people can change and people can get better.
I mean, I feel like the show is like a reflection of like this current world we live in, right? Like Mindy Sinclair's house looks like a regular suburban house to me, you know what I mean? Like from like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Like it's it was a reminder of that, you know. I don't know. It made me think like that's what really happens after we die, you know. Like this is the most realistic depiction of afterlife that I've seen. I think that's why I was like, it really twisted me up and I had to finish watching the whole thing. Like, I hope, like maybe that's what all those stars are. You know what I mean? Because like when they pass through that last doorway, you know, they turn into like little, and I'm like, maybe that's what we just turn back into specks of light, you know? Like maybe we've all been stars our whole lives. And or like before this human life, and then we're like, all right, let's switch things up a little bit. Let's fuck shit up. Like let's see what we get. You know what I mean? Like maybe humans are like the sometimes I feel like we are playing some kind of like God's game or something. Like there are gods up there, you know, just having fun, and like this is their idea of fun, you know, because if it was just perfect and you just got everything all the time, like would you be happy? I don't know. Like if I did get into the good place, like I think I would get bored at a certain point if I just like did everything I ever wanted to do. Like Tahani has that long list, right? I think I would have like a list like Tahani too, and after I would be done and be like, okay, what else is there to do? Oh, maybe I'll just design afterlives. Like maybe I'm meant to be a designer of afterlives. Maybe that's in the cards for me.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know. Yeah, because like, can you imagine if you were just like eventually she got tired of her family, like loving family. You will, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing left to know or discover at a certain point. If you just, can you imagine having the same family for all of eternity? For all of time. For all of time. You have all the time in the world. Like, literally, that's what's happening right now, too, right? Like, people are getting, like, we discover, like, we do need that space. And we do need some challenges and some
But I think that's that's only the case if you're always wanting more.
But if you're just satisfied, you'd be like Jason and be like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, you're just good with living in the forest for 5 million years and not doing anything.
Yeah.
That's what, because that was Tawny's thing, is that she just wanted more and more and more to experience, to do new things, to keep going. But also, you don't have to have that kind of drive. You don't have to want that.
But what if it's naturally in me?
Can you, I think that people can find some peace when they don't have that. What if everything is good? Why do you need to learn more? Why do you need to do more?
I think like the day that you feel like you have nothing left is like when you die, right? And that's what they talk about in the show as well. Like there's nothing left, then you just are, and that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, and in a way, I think that's beautiful, because then you just have to be a star. You just have to shine. That's all you need to do. You don't have to want. You don't have to need. You don't have to seek for stimulation. You just have to be a thing.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Just be me. I am me. I'm me. I don't think I'm not me. See, existentialism right there, man. That's it. Am I me or am I you? Are you am I? You am I, or am I you? Yeah. And I think what the last book that Eleanor finished was What We Owe to Each Other, right? Like her like revelation was, you can't impose rules on people that don't make sense. You know what I mean? Like he was ready to go, but she didn't want him to go for selfish reasons. Like you can't be selfish with people, right?
Yeah.
Like when it's time for someone to go and move on, like you gotta let them do that.
Yeah.
And it's not that he wouldn't want to be there with you. It's just when you have no more purpose left, almost, and like you feel complete, like the quietness, right? Feel like I'm gonna be working my whole life towards that quietness. Like right now, I'm in my age. You know what I mean? Like my dad always tells me, like you have to be your age, and I have to be my age. You know what I mean? Like you can't impose stuff that you do in your age to my age, and the same for me as well. And I was like, oh shit, sure, you know, that there's a time and place for everything, and yeah. Some deep shit, man, right there.
Some deep shit with a lot of lighthearted, sarcastic comedy.
Yes. And
so yes, if you haven't watched that show, you should totally binge the whole thing. It's all on Netflix, right? 100%
agree. Yes, it is on Netflix. It was they aired it on NBC originally. I've just been like, it was short and sweet, left me wanting way more, and now I spent like a good couple days after I finished watching it, like just diving into the panel discussions, and like they got some good ones on YouTube as well, and I have to share it later.
Yeah,
I'll do it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a little past 1. Yeah. Let's
Should we wrap
close
up?
this out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, we can close it out. I'm glad we had this time to talk about our love about the good place.
And discuss
Existential.
existentialism.
Yes, existentialism. And some ways that you can just let the weight go, you know? Like it doesn't have to be like we don't have to feel guilty all the time.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like we can still make good decisions even if some of them might turn out to be bad, as long as we meant well, you know. Yeah, but not in the same way that of the guy telling women to smile more. That's a little different. Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I'll close this out.